I'm going to import the basic library that we are going to use for the data pre-processing process, that is pandas and numpy. So first of all, I will import pandas as pd, import numpy as np. After doing so, I'm going to read my data that is currently present in my system. So I will write just df is equal to pd dot read underscore csv, and here we are going to mention our file name, that is I guess 10.csv I have. And yeah, so this is our actual data frame. Now first let's understand about this data, what is the actual mean of the columns, and let's see. So here we have passenger id and survived. So this data is actually of the Titanic ship that has been sunk, and these are the information of the people that had traveled with the Titanic ships, and whether they died or survived. These are the data for that. So passenger ID, the passenger ID, typical ID for a passenger. Survived column, that means whether the person alive or died. Zero means the person died. One means the person alive. P class, probably the class, whether it was like for the rich people, the poor people, and the middle class ones. That was different type of class as we have in the railways and all that. And same here we have name, here we have sex column, SIBSP, Parch. These are also belonging to the class of the people who were traveling into the Titanic ship. And after that, we have a ticket ID, we have fare column, what was the fare of the ticket, and we have a cabin column, and we have a embark column here. That is also belonging to some class related to it. Now, in this data, first of all, what we are going to look for, we are going to look for whether there is any null values present or not. That is should be our first priority. We should check it whether there is null values or not in our system. So for checking the null values, what function we are going to use? We are going to use def dot is null, and this is the function. So we'll just open the bracket, and after that we'll put dot sum here, and this will show you how many null values you have present in your data frame. Now, as you can see, we have zero null values in passenger ID, zero null values in survived, same that goes for the P class, name, sex. But in each column, we have 177 null values. And in SIBSP, parts, ticket, fare, there is no null values. Cabin column, we have 687 null values. That is a huge. As you can see, we just have only 891 rows and 12 columns. That means 8 out of 891 rows, we have nearly 687 rows that is null in our cabin column. So we have to tackle it with some ways. Now in embark column, we just have two null values. Okay, there is another technique that you want to check if you want to check the data type also with null values also. So what you can do, you can just write df dot info, and this function is also going to show you the data type of the column as well as the null values that is present in that like column. So here you can see in passenger ID 891. So 891 was the rows, total number of rows we had. And as you can clearly see in the each column, we have 714 non-null values. That means if we subtract 891 minus 714, that means we have nearly 177 rows that is null in our each column. Same goes for the cabin and embark column also. Okay, so I told you two ways to check the null values, whether null values is present in your data frame or not. This should be your first priority if you are going to do data pre-processing process. Okay, now we have checked the null values. The next question should be how to tackle this null values. What should we generally do for like eliminating this kind of null values? So we have a lot of methods to do that. Actually, this problems should be solved by the domain expertise person. What kind of value he want to replace with the null values. But we are learning the data science, and we have some basic things that we can do for replacing the null values. Okay. Now for for replacing the null values, what we can actually do, either we can replace the null values with the mean value of that column, either with the mode value of that column, either with the median value of that column. So we have few methods. With the help of those, we can actually replace those null values. Now what we can do actually, first let's find the each, what is like in each column, what we are going to do. Either you can replace the null values with the median, either you can replace the null values with the mode, either you can replace the null values with the mean value of it. Now, what we are going to choose, I'm going to randomly choose the mean value. I'm going to take out the mean value of the each column, and after that, I'm going to just replace the null values with the mean value of it. Okay. So first, let's find the mean value of our each column as it has some null values. Now, for finding the mean value, we have functions in our NumPy library, as we have already imported in NumPy, and we have some function to find out the mean value of it. So for that, what we can do, we'll just write age mean, age mean, and in this, what we are going to do, np dot mean, and inside that, we are just going to pass our values. That is df of age. Now, this age mean should have the mean value of that column. Now, we have 29.69 some values. That is the mean value of that age column. Now, what we are going to do, we are going to replace this value into the age column where there is a null values. So for doing that, we have some function in our pandas. So what we can do, we can just write df dot, not df dot, df of age. In age column, we want to do the df of age dot fill na method. That is fill na method. Okay. So def dot df age dot fill na, and inside that, what values you want to pass. Suppose if you pass 0, then all the null values will be replaced by 0. Suppose you pass 1, then all the null values will be replaced by 1. Similarly, 2, 3, 4, whatever the value will be passing into that, the null values will be replaced by that value. Now we want to replace the null values with the mean of it. So what we are going to do, we are just going to pass that is mean column. Now what will happen? Just see what will happen. After running this will be changed for this cell, but we want to save that data also for the age column. So for doing though, we are going to just write def of age equal to df of age dot fill is mean. That's it. And now we can just see our df data frame for checking once more, for cross verifying whether our mean value successfully replaced the null values or not. For doing though, we are using df of is null dot sum. And yeah, now you can clearly see in age column we have zero null values, as we have replaced this is null values with the mean of it. That first problem was solved easily. Now the second problem is for the cabin column. The cabin column. So the cabin column has 687 rows, 687 rows, which has null values, which had null values. Now what we are going to do for that? What we are going to do for that? So basically, if we have more than 70 to 80% of the column as a null values, we can't do much into that. If it is really important, then that values can be replaced by the domain expertise person. But right now, this cabin column does not have a significant value in our data frame. So although we have a lot of null values into it, so we are going to just drop it. We are just going to drop it because we cannot replace it with the, like, we can replace it with the mean, median, mode value, but that will not make any kind of sense. We are just inserting some random values into it. That does not mean any kind of thing. So what we are going to do, we are going to just drop that cabin column. We, as we have a lot number of null values into it, so we are just going to drop it. So for doing that, we are going to drop from the data frame df. So for dropping any column, we have d drop function into that df dot drop function, and inside that df dot drop, what column you want to drop, you just have to mention, I have to drop cabin column, so I will just mention cabin column. And we have to mention the axis value also. As we know already, the rows we count as a axis is equal to 0, and the column we count as a axis is equal to 1. That we have already understood in our pandas and numpy libraries. Okay, hence I'm telling you, once brush up with those concepts, that will help you to understand the data pre-processing process here. Okay, now we are just going to mention axis is equal to 1, as we want to remove that column. And now we have to save the changes also. So we'll just write df is equal to df dot drop, same thing. We'll just run this and let's see. Now, as you can see, we have dropped our cabin column. There is no cabin column present right now here. So this problem has been also solved. Now there is only one problem we decide with, that is embarked column. Embarked column. Now in embarked column, there is only two, you can say two null values. You can replace with any of your desired value if you wanted. But what I will suggest you, try different methods like mean, median, or mode. Mean will not work, like this is these are the values in the string format or object format, you can say. Median will also not going to work. Mode you can try to figure it out. Okay, mode you can easily find out. Now you can find out the mode value of it, and after that you can just replace it. But we just have two null values here, and we are just going to pass random values from our side. And I'm going to show you how to pass the random values to fill the NA values. That means not null values. So we'll just write df of embarked equal to df of embarked dot fill, and a same function we are going to use, and inside that we'll just pass that as s is repeating a lot of times, so we'll just pass that as. And now where the two null values we have in the embarked column, that will be replaced by the s values. Let's check the null values right now. df of is null dot sum. As you can see, now we have successfully cleaned the data, or you can say we have successfully replaced the null values that we had in our data frame. We have now zero null values in passenger ID, survived, P class name, sex, age, and all the other columns. So this is a typical basic problem for cleaning the data, or you can say replacing the null values with your desired value, or you can just take the help of mean, median, mode process and replace those values. Thank you for this session.